Good afternoon, ladies. We are studying today Parashat Chayei. Our parashat talks about the marriage between Yitzhak Avinu and Rivka. Some of the members of our class believe, correctly so, that by dedicating the class, it would promote as good luck for them to get married and for those singles in our community to get married as well. I can say for sure it cannot hurt. It can only help them, and they made a dedication as such that B'ezrat Hashem, that the Divrei Torah should stand for them and for the singles of our community. Miriam, a charter member of our shul as well, Miriam Saba also made a dedication today for the same cause, that B'ezrat Hashem, our singles of our community and our nation should find themselves the right match, just like Yitzhak Avinu, and B'ezrat Hashem they should build loyal homes. Batim ne'emanim b'Yisrael, Amen. I came today to answer a question that I was asked a few days ago. I myself did not think of the question, but I thought of the answer. The question was asked, in our parasha, we read about the death of Sarah Imenu. ויהיו חיי שרה 100 שנה ו20 שנה ו7 שנים שני חיי שרה. Sarah Imenu lived 127 years. ויבוא Abraham. Abraham comes along, לספוד לשרה, to eulogize Sarah. ולבכותה, and he cried as well. It says לספוד לשרה. He eulogized to Sarah. The rabbis learned from here that the deceased hears the eulogy. That's why the pasuk says, "Lispod." When it came to the hisped, "Lesara," that was the Sarah. "Livkota," and then he cried. But that Sarah, that doesn't affect Sarah, his crying. But the eulogy, the niftar hears. That's why you have to be very careful what you say, because the niftar is listening. It's the hardest speech to make, obviously, a hisped. I dread to make such speeches, not because only nobody wants to speak at a hisped, but because it's a very hard speech. Because every word is measured. You're not allowed to say too much, and you're not allowed to say too little. It has to be a bullseye. It has to be perfect. Chacham Baruch Alav HaShalom was very careful when he used to tell us that this is a speech that should be reserved for Hachamim, not by friends or family members that might say the wrong thing. And instead of doing justice for the deceased, they're only hurting the deceased. How is a layman supposed to know what to say? There's halachot. The Gemara says, Chas v'shalom, there's a judgment that comes on the saftanim, on the eulogizers. So who would want to put themselves in a predicament to get up and make a speech if they don't know what they're talking about? He loved baseball, he loved to go to the movies, he played poker every Tuesday night, he used to wear fancy shirts and ties, he used to go skiing, he used to go to the movies. Shtuyot. If you could open the coffin, you'd see the niftar with the fingers in the ear, saying, what is he talking about? Bring him down. So the pasuk says, "Vayavo Abraham lispod leSarah." He was talking to Sarah. So the question that was asked is as follows: where was Yitzhak? Yitzhak is the only child of Sarah. He doesn't eulogize his mother. There should be two speakers at that funeral, Abraham and Yitzhak. Forget about Yitzhak, not only didn't eulogize, but he's nowhere to be found. Where was Yitzhak Avinu? Doesn't say anything about him. Only after the funeral it says, V'Avraham Zaken, Ba Bayamim, V'Adonai Berach et Avraham Bakol. Avraham became old, and God blessed him, Bakol, with everything. So Rashi says, what does Bakol mean, with everything? So he says, Ben Hayal Avraham Avinu. Avraham had a son. The word Bakol means he had a son. How does Bakol, everything, mean a son? In Hebrew, the way we say a son is Ben. Ben is Bet Nun. Bet is 2 and Nun is 50. Ben is 52. Bakol is Bet Chaf Lamed. 52. So that she says, when it says Bakol, it's 52. What's 52? Ben. God blessed Abraham with a son, and therefore Abraham said, I have a son, I have to marry him off. So he asked me, he said, Rabbi, also, well, we didn't know he has a son. We know Yitzhak was born already 40 years before. It's not like we didn't know there exists a person called Yitzhak. The Torah talks about him at length. We just read Akedat Yitzhak. Now, as if the Torah is telling us a hadush. You should know. When he got old, Hashem gave him a son, Bakol. Hadush, Yitzhak Abinu was around. So in order to understand this, I found a great revelation. It's a big hadush. It was said by a great rabbi called the Baal Megaleh Amukot. He said it just as a matter of fact. But then I found the proof where he got it from. He said, Abraham Avinu did the Akedah last week. He put Yitzhak on the Mizbeach, and he was about to slaughter him, and then God said, don't do it. Abraham, stop, take him down. And everybody lived happily ever after. He says, everybody went home. Yitzhak Avinu didn't go home. Where did he go? To Gan Eden. I also said yeshiva, but it says no. He went to Gan Eden. He went, I don't know how he got there, but he got there. That's not important how he got there. And he lived in Gan Eden for 3 years. And after, that's why he wasn't at his mother's funeral, because he was in the upper worlds. What was he doing in the upper worlds? I have a theory, which I'll tell you in a minute. But what happened? After he reached the age of 40, God told Yitzhak, okay, now you can go back down to earth. So the Pasuk says, V'Avraham Zaken Baba Yamim, V'Adonai Berach et Avraham Bakol. Now he had a son again. It's like Yitzhak was born again. They didn't know where he was. All of a sudden he comes down from Gan Eden. Avraham says, where were you the past 3 years? I was in Gan Eden. Are you in Gan Eden? Okay, but now that you're back, for good, we're back. Okay, good. V'Hashem Berach et Avraham Bakol. God blessed Avraham with a child. He says, now we have to get you married. You should be amazed by this. We have no understanding of how these people lived. They lived in 2 worlds. I'm going up to Gan Eden for a few years. How can he go up to Gan Eden? Moshe Rabbeinu went up for 40 days and 40 nights. A person says, I'm going away, I'm moving to a different city. But to live in the upper world and the lower world simultaneously, only the Avot are able to do such things. So that answers the question. He wasn't at the funeral because he was somewhere else. What was he actually doing in Gan Eden? I'll tell you what he was doing. Don't ask too many questions on what I'm going to tell you now. Just accept it. Just like I accepted it. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh brings down, that's Rav Chaim ben Attar, is one of the great commentators in the Torah. He writes that Yitzhak Avinu was unable to have children because he had a neshama of a nekeva. He had a neshama of a nekeva. There's 2 types of neshamot. There's a male neshama and there's a female neshama. I cannot identify a male and a female neshama. This is something that only God knows. But Yitzhak's neshama was nekeva. Don't think you understand what I'm saying. It doesn't mean if you see somebody wearing a pink shirt that he has neshama v'nekeva. Doesn't go with any of what you're thinking. His neshama was unable to produce. Why? There's a reason why he wasn't able to produce. The Torah says when God told Sarah Imenu that she's going to have a child, so she left. A child? Abraham is 100 years old. How's he going to have a child? She was 90. So God says to Abraham, why is she laughing? Go tell her that in 1 year from now, Ka'et Haya, Shov Ashuv Elecha, I'm going to return to you, Ulsara ben. What does it mean, Ulsara ben? And Sarah's going to have a child. Which means the child is going to come from Sarah and have a neshama like Sarah of a nekeva. It's not going to be Abraham's child, Ulsara ben. The child is going to have the same neshama of like Sarah Eminu, which is not able to produce, and that's the punishment to Sarah. Ulsara ben, not to Abraham ben. Ulsara ben. That's what the pasuk says. VeHashem pakad et Sarah. But he ended up having children. Yitzhak, what happened? So it says when Abraham went to do the Akedah, and he put him on the Mizbeach, so the neshama of Yitzhak was switched. God took the neshama that he had away, and he gave him a new neshama of a Zachar. When did he do this? During the 3 years in Gan Eden. During the 3 years in Gan Eden, they had to rewire Yitzhak. They took out the old parts, and they had to give him a new soul in order that he'd be able to produce. It took 3 years to do such a procedure. Now we understand when he comes down at 40 years old, what does the pasuk say? V'Avraham zaken, Baba Yamin, v'Hashem berachet Avraham bakol. Now the child is not Sarah's child anymore. Now it's v'Hashem berachet Avraham. It's Avraham's child because now we had the neshama that is able to produce. Now watch what happened. I found a source to this, that he was in Gan Eden for 3 years. There's a midrash that says, when the Rivka was coming on the camel with Eliezer to come see who's she going to marry, they're riding a camel. They didn't have cars in those days. So she's on the camel, and then all of a sudden, she turns to Eliezer and she says, Mi ha'ish halazu? Who's this man? Yitzhak was in the field. He was praying. She says, who is this man over here? And she was so dazzled, she fell off the camel. And it says when she fell off the camel, she bled. She lost betulin. She bled. So it says Yitzhak saw now after he met Rivka, he wanted to know how this happened to her. He didn't know she fell off the camel. So he said, maybe Eliezer did something over here not proper. So they said, no, what are you blaming Eliezer for? It's not Eliezer Tzaddik. She fell off the camel. So in the Shamayim, they said, poor Eliezer. They suspected him for something that he didn't do. God says, I'm going to reward Eliezer. And he's one of the few people that when he passed away, he went to Gan Eden alive. He didn't die like a regular person dies. They took him straight up to Gan Eden. He just disappeared. He went straight to Gan Eden. So the Midrash writes, look what happened. Eliezer went to Gan Eden alive, and Yitzhak came down from Gan Eden alive. Oh, that's the source. Now we found a source that we can't just say, we could say anything. We have to prove it. Now we found in the rabbinical literature that they said clearly, Yitzhak Avinu came down from Gan Eden alive. Now I understand something else. This bothers most of the people when they read the Torah. It says, when they're riding back on the camel, she sees a man standing in the field. Rivka, she sees a man. She doesn't know who it is. She says, Mi ha'isha lazu. Who is this man over here? What kind of question is that? This is the way Tzaddiket talks. Who's this man? What is she looking at men for? She's Rivka man. Who's this guy? Guy, we don't say guy. Who's this man? What do you mean, who's this man? Put your eyes down, and the Ezra will introduce you at the right time. Why is she looking at men? This is not proper behavior. If I'm walking with the tzaddiket, the Rebbitzin, one of the big Rebbitzins of the world, you're walking in Bnei Brak with a Rebbitzin Hasidah, with all the trimmings of a Rebbitzin, and as we're walking in Bnei Brak, she sees somebody, who's that guy? So now the Rebbitzin asks a question like that, who's that guy? And as she says, why did she ask? She writes, I have it here. I'll read you the holy words. It says, "V'tisar Rivka et eineha," she lifted her eyes. "V'tere et Yitzhak, v'tipol ma'al hagamal," she falls off the camel. "V'tomer el ha'eved," she tells the servant Eliezer, "Mi ha'ish halazeh?" "V'yomer ha'eved hu adoni," that's the one. Now she says, "Mi ha'ish halazu," and she writes, "Ra'ata oto hadur." She saw he was hadur. What's hadur? The wrong explanation would be handsome. Hadur, he was hadar. Hadar is nice. He was comely. This makes it worse. Rashi, you're trying to help me, or you're trying to make more problems for me? I'm trying to answer a question I have to deal with Rashi. Hadur, he was nice. So, who's this man over here? But now we understand. Yitzhak Avinu was just in Gan Eden for 3 years. When he came down, there was such a light. There was such a glow. There was such an aura, a brilliance that was covering him. This is an or elyon, a light from a higher world. When he came down, he was radiating like the sun. That's what Rashi means, hadur. Hadur means he had a splendor. So when Rivka wasn't saying, who's this man, meaning, who's this handsome man, who's this, she was saying, I never saw such a thing. What type of man over here has such a light that's coming from his face? This, we never saw such a thing. Who is this holy spectacle? And she got the answers. Who Adoni? This is the one you're going to marry. So, but she fell off the camel. Such a man I'm going to marry? Kadosh has such holiness. This answers also something else. You're going to see later on in the next parashiyot, Yitzhak Avinu at the end of his life went blind, Bar Minan. And Yaakov went into his father to get the blessings. So he dressed up like Esav, he put on the hairy clothes, and he's going to now take the blessings that belong to him, but he had to do it that way. So when he walks into his father, again his father's blind. His father says, come close. He feels him, he says, it feels like Esav, he sounds like Yaakov, and then he blesses him and he says, Re'eh reyach beni kereyach sadeh asher beracho Adonai. He says, wow, the smell I smell over here, the fragrance, is like the fragrance of the field of God. Rashi says, Yitzhak smelt Gan Eden. He says, you have the fragrance of Gan Eden. Can I ask you a question? Would you know what Gan Eden smells like? If you went into Bloomingdale's, you don't know what that is, the righteous woman. I have no idea what that is. It's a department store in Manhattan. I have to teach you everything. And you walk into the perfume department, and there's a certain cologne or perfume, and you smell it. You say, Gan Eden. What do you know from Gan Eden? When we say Gan Eden, we say it because we don't know really what Gan Eden smells like. When I walk into my mother's kitchen on Friday, and I smell the aroma of food, I say, Gan Eden. I don't mean Gan Eden. To me, that's my image of what Gan Eden is, but I'm exaggerating. But Yitzhak Avinu, when he walks in, Yaakov walks in, he says, this is the smell of Gan Eden. He wasn't exaggerating. What does that mean, ladies? He knew what Gan Eden smelled like. Why? Because he lived there for 3 years. He says, this aroma it's a fragrance that I'm familiar with. But now I want to tell you a big hiddush. There was a rabbi called the Riva. There was a group of rabbis from France that were called the Baalei Tosafot. Tosafot is a group of rabbis. They were great tzaddikim, great hachamim, and they offer us many commentaries to the Torah, to the Gemara, to the Talmud. Maybe you heard one of the most famous rabbis of the Tosafot was a rabbi called Rabbeinu Tam. His name was really Rabbi Yaakov, but they nicknamed him Rabbeinu Tam because it says Yaakov Ish Tam. So they called him Rabbeinu Tam. We have a man in the Shabbat class in Deal. He always likes to eat the Temtems. So we call him Rabbeinu Tam over here. He's Rabbeinu Tam. L'avdir. Rabbeinu Tam was a great rabbi of the Tosafot. He would sit with 60 rabbis in front of him. Each rabbi knew one of the tractates of the Talmud cold. So Rabbeinu Tam would sit in front of his students, and he would call his students by the Gemara. Yom Masechet Berachot, Yom Masechet Shabbat, Yom Masechet Erubin, Yom Masechet Pesachim. So Rabbeinu Tam would say he would say a statement. This is what I want to teach today. Masechet Berachot, do you have any questions? Masechet Shabbat, do you have any questions? Masechet Erubin, do you have any questions? He would scrutinize his statements through the whole Shas, through all his students. That's the way they learned in the olden days. So one of the Tosafot, these rabbis, his name was the Riva. Riva says like this: after a person passes away, and they go to the Olam HaEmet, the true world, they're upside down. If you look at them, you see their legs are up and their head is down. Where on earth we stand straight. The legs are on the ground, the head is up, unless you're doing a headstand or something like that. But in the Shamayim, it's reverse. Now, I know you don't have a physical body in the Shamayim, but what it means is if you would look at the person, the illusion is that the body is turned upside down. Even though there might not be a body, but that's the way it looks. If you're looking, that's the way it looks. We learned this from the story in the prophets. There was a king called Shaul. Shaul needed to know if he should go to war. There was a war. He wants to know, am I going to win or am I going to lose? Who's he going to ask? I'll go ask Shemuel HaNavi. There's only one problem. Shemuel HaNavi was passed away. So he went to a fortune teller, which we shouldn't go to, but he went. And the fortune teller was able to bring down the neshama of Shemuel, and he asked Shemuel, should I go to the war? Shouldn't I go to the war? And Shemuel gave him rebuke. What are you bringing me down over here? You're not supposed to do this. But when Shemuel came down, it says he was upside down. His head was down, his legs were up. Oh, with this the Riva explains. Rivka is on the camel. She's coming towards Yitzhak. All of a sudden, at that moment, Yitzhak is coming from Gan Eden. How's he coming from Gan Eden? He's upside down. His head is down, his legs are up. So she never saw such a thing. So she asked, Mi ha'ish halazu? What is this guy? What is this? This I never saw. People standing straight, we see all the time. But upside down? So he says, this is, you know who you're going to marry? He's just coming back from Gan Eden for a couple of years. This is the way the Neshamot look. Now you understand what Rashi meant. Rashi says, when she looked and said, who is this man? Rashi writes, Ra'ata oto hadur. You know what hadur means? In Aramaic, the Gemara says this all the time. when a person's walking and then he changes his mind and he wants to go back, it says, Ba'il mihdar. He wants to go back. The word hadur means to turn it over, to reverse. So Rashi is telling us a big secret here. Ra'ata, she saw him hadur, meaning he was reversed, he was upside down. Not hadur, handsome or comely. Ra'ata hadur, ba'il mihdar. He saw, he was upside, he was reversed. So she says, who is this over here? What is this over here? But I want to ask you a question. Why is it that the neshamot are upside down really in the Shamayim? Why is it? Why can't they stand straight? Why does it have to be that way? They have to be upside down? There has to be a reason for this. Tell me. That's one reason. They want to come back to us. It's a good reason. I'm going to tell the answer also. If you like it, you can accept it. If not, no. Listen to what I'm going to say now, ladies. There's a very important yesod. Gemara says 3 words. Bera, kera, ve'abu. Bera is a son, a child. Kera is a leg. De'abu is of the father. The son is the leg of the father. How do you understand this? The son is the leg of the father. Maybe the son is the elbow of the father. Maybe the son is the nose of the father. What do you mean, Bera kera de'abu? What does that mean? The Gemara is telling us a mystery. What do you mean? Is the son the leg? The father has his own legs. What do you tell me? Oh, the son is the leg. No, the son is not the leg. The son is the son and the leg is the leg. The Gemara says, no, Bera kera de'abu. So I'm going to explain it to you. We come into this world. This is not the main world, as you know. We come into this world in order to collect as many mitzvot as we can collect. And then we go to the next world where we redeem them. There's a redemption center. And we come in with all the bags, and then they count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe when you were younger, you remember, you used to go to the amusement park, or to the arcade, and they used to give you tickets. And the whole day you're playing games, and you're getting tickets, and you're collecting, and then when you're collecting them, and after the whole day, you have 4,000 tickets. Now you go to the counter, and you can redeem your tickets, and you're working the whole day, and you say, I have 4,000 tickets, what can I get? And they give you a back scratcher, or a Chinese yo-yo, or whatever they're giving you. So, this is what I got for all my work. It's not so simple, but it's like that. In this world, it's the more tickets you collect, mitzvot, the more you have an ability to redeem it for a higher reward. There's rows. A person doesn't have a lot of mitzvot. They tell, okay, you come in. They tell the usher, take him to his seat. They take him to row Z, all the way to the back. He says, hey, what am I doing over here? I want to be in the front. You don't have enough tickets. Somebody once told me, how come? I don't care where I sit. As long as I get in, I don't care. I said, you're wrong. I said, one day I'll show you you're wrong. I went out to dinner with this fellow. We walk into the restaurant. He said, we have reservations, Hakam, don't worry. Okay, good. I'm praying that this was going to happen, and it happened. The guy says, yes, you're here, table for 4. He says, okay, come with me. He takes us all the way in the back of the restaurant, and the back, and the dog, and the noise, and the worst seat in the... Oh, he's the bashim. I want to see what he's going to say now, this guy. He said, Hakam, you like the seat? I said, I love it. Beautiful. He says, this is terrible. He starts yelling at the maitre d'. We cannot sit over here. We want this table. I said, what do you care where you sit? When it comes to Olam Haba, you told me you don't care if you're in the back. 1 hour in a restaurant, you can't sit in the back. But for some reason, you're thinking Olam Haba forever, you're going to sit in the back row? Oh, this. He answered his own question. Of course, everybody wants to have the best seat. So it's mitzvot. Only thing is, after a person passes away, you can't do anything anymore. Wherever you are, you are. There's no lulav in Olam Haba, there's no sukkah, there's no learning Torah that you get reward for, there's no praying shaharit, there's no answering amen, there's no visiting sick people, there's no achnasat orhim, hospitality. Once a person leaves this world, that's it. Whatever tickets he has, he has. There's no more amassing more points. The game is over, as they say. B'metim hoshi, David HaMelech says. B'metim, in death, a person is free. Free from what? Free from the mitzvot. However, the Achamim say, there's one way that a person can advance. Exactly. Through his students and through his children. Which means, if the person left children in the world that are doing good things, why are they doing good things? Because the parents taught the children values, the parents taught the children the right way, the proper ethics. So when the child behaves in the proper manner, they credit those good deeds to the deceased. And now all of a sudden they go to the person that passed away, they say, listen, we're moving you up a few rows. But I didn't do anything. No, but your child today did a big mitzvah, so collect all your belongings, and we're going to move you to the next level. The Gemara says, Tzadikim en lahem menucha. Lo ba'olam hazeh velo ba'olam haba. The tzaddik has no rest. Not in this world, and not in the next world. Well, I know why in this world the tzaddik doesn't have any rest, because he's working, and he gets up early, and he eats. But in the next world, he has no rest. That's why he's working so hard in this world, so he can rest in the next world. Why shouldn't he have rest in the next world? And the rabbis say, no, he has no rest because he's always moving. The second he moves into his house, oh, Baruch, you like it? I love it. The next day, we're moving again. Where are you moving? Closer. Closer? We'll get the moving truck. He finally moves in again. We're moving closer. He's thrilled to move. Because the children keep on elevating their parents or their relatives, not only children, but the relatives are moving and progressing the deceased soul. You know this concept, ladies. You've heard the Leilu Nishmat, say Beracha, and say Amen, make the Arayat, make Berachot. This is a concept that we're very familiar with. We believe in this. Now you understand what the Gemara means. When a father or mother or whoever it is goes up to heaven, they have no legs because they cannot move. They're stuck where they are. The only way they're able to move is through the children. And therefore the Gemara says, Bera kera da'abu. The child is the legs of the father. The father is able to walk with the child's deeds. He's able to move his father. The deceased is stuck in place. I cannot do any more mitzvot. So how do I move? Not with my own legs. The father moves with the legs of the child now. Now the child's good deeds moves the parent up. I know what you're all thinking. And what if he doesn't do good things? Listen, you can't have everything one way. There's fairness, there's equality. It works both ways. If the child is not doing good things, so they tell the fellow, pack your bags, you have to move a row back. That's why you understand why it's so important to raise your children the right way. Not for them, for you. Wait. There was one artist. He sang songs like secular songs, rock and roll, all this type of songs. And he made one album at the time, very bad songs. Not nice words, not nice content, but they're all like that. But this was very, very risque, it wasn't good. Eventually, it became like the top song. It rose to the top of the charts. The fellow got old, he died. The rabbi said, the rabbi didn't speak at his funeral, the rabbi sang to the students, he says, this guy's in for a big surprise. They're going to punish him for all the dirt that he brought into the world. But you know what? Every time somebody buys a CD in the store after he's dead, That's his discredit. Beg the fire harder. He says, what do you mean? I'm dead already. Well, you left all this junk in the world. Before you died, you should have removed it from the shelves. You should have taken it away. You didn't do that. Every time they make more copies and keep on selling it, the more, because they talk about a ripple effect. If somebody throws a rock in the water, so you start to see ripples and rings and rings and rings. Even though the person goes home, the rings are still going and going and going. When a person comes into this world, he's supposed to set something in motion that even after he passes, it'll just continue to produce good deeds. But if he sets something bad in motion, has v'shalom, it hurts him. Bera kerada abu. The child is the leg of the parents. If you understand this, I once heard a big hadush of one of the great rabbis. We sang Kiryat Shema every day. V'lemadatem otam et benechem ledaber bam. You should teach your children. V'lemadatem otam. You should teach your children. Et benechem ledaber bam, to speak in Torah, to do good. What's the next pasuk? Lema'an yirbu yemechem. If you teach your children Torah, you'll have Bezat Hashem long good life. V'imei benechem. Ala adama shenishba Adonai la'avotechem natet lahem, and God's going to give you a reward. Kimei hashamayim ala aretz. What do those words mean? Kimei hashamayim ala aretz. Like the days of the heaven and the earth. How did you understand this? Kimei hashamayim ala aretz. Based on what I'm telling you today, listen to the explanation. If you teach your children Torah and you give them the right education, Kimei hashamayim, after you go to the shamayim, you will still be considered ala aretz. That you could be in the heavens, but you could still be moving. But there's no mitzvot. You could be b'shamayim ala aretz, but you still have the benefit of living on earth because your children are going to do the walking for you. Beram is the ke'abba. Bera kirada abu. Now you understand. When Yaakov Abinu passed away, right before he passed away, he called his son Yosef in for a meeting. He told Yosef, swear to me. But Daddy, what do you want me to swear to you? Al na tikbereni b'Misrayim. I don't want to be buried in Egypt. Where do you want to be buried? V'shachavti im avotai. I want to sleep. Listen to the words he says. I want to sleep with my fathers. I want to be buried in Hebron, in the Ma'arat HaMachpelah, with my father, Yitzhak Avinu, with my grandfather, Abraham. Swear to me that you'll take me to sleep with my fathers. So he swore to him, and eventually he did it. But I left out one part that Yaakov says to his son. He says to him, Sim na yadecha tahat yerechi. Place your hand on my leg. Yerech is the thigh. Hold on to my thigh. Why? In the olden days, that's how they used to make us swear. Today, if we want to make a swear, we swear on the Chumash. Put your hand on the Bible. The Zohar HaKadosh says in the olden days they used to swear on the beard. They used to hold on to the beard. Shem'ah. In the times of the Bible, they used to swear by holding on to the leg. Why? Especially this swear. What are you holding on to the leg? Just let him say, I swear. Well, you don't trust him if he just says, I swear, Daddy. You have to hold on to his leg. You know what the explanation is? Yaakov Avinu says, I'm about to die. I do not want to be buried. Buried means it's finished. Once the person's buried, he cannot do anything, he cannot progress. I don't want to be buried. I want to be sleeping. B'shachavti. When a person's sleeping, he's still alive. I don't want to be dead. I just want to go to sleep. So therefore, I'm telling you, Yosef, Simna yadecha tahat yerechi. Hold on to my leg. What he was telling him is, you are going to be my legs after I pass away. if you don't continue to do good deeds, you and your brothers, then I'm dead in Egypt, then I'm buried. Then I want to sleep, I don't want to be buried, I want to be shekhavti, I want to still have life in me after I die. And the only way is, he told him, put your hand on my leg. You feel this leg? This leg will not be able to work after I pass away. To do mitzvot, you become my leg. That's the depth of what happened in that terasha. Abu. Once you understand this, we understand why in the heavens the neshamot are upside down. Because when we're alive, we stand straight because our head is looking towards the heavens. Because we want to reach the heavens. We want to reach high levels. So our head is always to where our goal is. Here the goal is to get to Olam Haba. So we're always looking at the goal. More mitzvot, more tickets, more points. But the niftar, he cannot do anything in the Shamayim. So where is his looking? He always looks down. His head is looking at the earth. Because he's saying, I cannot do anything. I need you people on earth to help me. His aspirations is not in the Shamayim. The Shamayim is locked. So the Neshama looks down in order to give a musar to the people. I'm counting on you. I need your good deeds to raise my soul. If you understand this, I'll tell you a Gemara we read this week in the Hokli Israel in the class with the boys. Could you believe this? We read Chayei Sarah how many times? Nothing that I said was known to anybody. Upside down, Gan Eden, 3 years, Hadushim. The people are missing out if they don't come to Shiur. The people think they know everything already. Chayei Sarah, baby stories the rabbi is going to tell you today. What is he going to tell you? Shidduchim, he got married, the camel, he went, he did. We know everything. Rav Chaim Vital wrote a sefer in Kabbalah. On the first line of the book he says, Tachlit ha'adam lida she'enu yodaya. That's what he writes. He says, the main knowledge that a person has to have is to know that he doesn't know. Once you know that you don't know, then you'll be a good student. That's what we call a scholar. I always tell you this. We call a scholar a hacham. Hacham is a scholar. But there's a higher level than a hacham. That's called talmid hacham. You ever see they say talmid, he's talmid hacham. But these two words don't go with each other. Talmid is a student. Hacham is a scholar. Make up your mind. Are you a student or are you a scholar? The explanation is a real hacham is always a talmid. He always knows he has more to learn, that he doesn't know everything. But once a person thinks he's a hacham, he's finished. The goal is not to be a hacham, a talmid hacham. To know that no matter how much we're going to study, you didn't finish. You're still a student. Go back and learn it again. So listen to the Gemara, and then I'll let you go. What a beautiful day. We think we're in Deal today. We don't know where we are today. Oh, it's in Brooklyn. We're in Brooklyn or in the summer. We don't know where we are. There was 2 people. I'm joking. I don't know there was 2 people. I don't know. How am I going to know? Listen to what I'm going to tell you. This is what the books say. Maybe there was exceptions. I don't know the exceptions. We don't get a postcard from Gan Eden from anybody. We don't get any letters. We don't know what goes on over there. Could be. I'm joking. Maybe there was. Maybe there wasn't. I don't know. Listen to the Hadush I'm saying now. There was a rabbi called Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef, it says, was very sick. And Rabbi Yosef went into a coma, Barmendan, and he passed away. And he went up to Gan Eden. And then whatever happened, he came back. It happens sometimes. The people leave and they come back. So his father, Rabbi Yoshua, he told him, what did you see when you went up to this Gan Eden? So he writes, Olam hafuch ra'iti. I saw a topsy-turvy world. Elyonim lemata, v'tachtonim lema'ala. So his father said, Olam barur ra'ita. You didn't see a topsy-turvy world. You saw a correct world. Till this class, you know how the rabbis explained this Gemara? I'll translate everything. Topsy-turvy world means like this. When I went up, I was shocked. I saw Elyonim lemata. People in this world that were very cha-cha, very high. In that world, they're very low. And people in this world that were very low, Tahtonim, lema'ala. A person in this world that had a lot of influence and power, but wasn't a good person. But everybody gives him kavod. Oh, Baruch Haba. He shakes his hand. They want to take a picture with him because he has a lot of influence, a lot of wealth. But the person is no good. But everybody false flatters them. Oh no, everybody gives them all false compliments. They give them the best seat, please, the best aliyah. But that's in this world. But when he went up to the next world, he said, oh, I'm shocked. Elyonim lemata. That those people in this world that we thought were so hashuv, over there lemata, they're in the back. And tahtonim, the people in this world that weren't given so much respect, the simple, humble people that nobody looked so much at them. Over there, they were very high. So his father told him, my son, you didn't see a topsy-turvy world. You saw olam barur. That's the real world. That's the way it's supposed to be. You saw a correct world, not an upside-down world. That's the real explanation. There's no better explanation than that. That's the biggest truth. Olam hafuch, the tables turn in Olam Haba. There's no false flattering in Olam Haba. Nobody can come in and pay their way in and do all sorts of tricks. There it's Olam Emet. You sit where you're supposed to sit, not because you have a connection or an influence or a friend or you bribe the usher. But based on today's lesson, ladies, we have a Gemara's new explanation. He said, my father, when I went up to Olam Haba, I said, Olam Hafuch. Everybody was upside down. I see the legs are up and the heads are down. Olam Hafuch. What is this? He didn't even know this happens. So he said, what I saw was Elyonim lemata. The people that are in the Shamayim, they're looking lemata. They're looking down. You know why they're looking down? The tahtonim lema'ala. Because they want the people on earth to look up. They're looking down in order to tell the people, help me. I want to move up. So the rabbi said, you know what you saw? You saw olam barur. You saw the real. That's exactly what the goal of life is. That after a person goes on to the next world, don't leave him there. He's asking, if you saw a picture, you see him looking at you, please. Even though he's sitting in row A, there's A. There's endless amounts of levels to get closer. Closer to the Shekhinah, closer to the light. Put it this way, closer to a good thing. To Ruhaniyut. Who doesn't want to get closer to the Shekhinah? It's clear. There's higher levels, and the levels are infinite. So the more mitzvot that are done, the better. That's why you see a lot of people, they have a lot of children. Now you understand why they have a lot of children. What does he have 15 children for? If he passes away, 15 children, each guy's saying the Kaddish, each one's doing Mithru, now it goes. But I once asked, and I'll conclude with this, Chacham Baruch, a question. I said, Rabbi, this is not fair. And if somebody doesn't have children but Minnan, is this fair? You're telling me? So he has no legs. So he answered me like this. He said, there's a way. Because if you heard what I told you, I said, there's two ways. There's your children and your students. So he said, that person should make sure that he donates money to yeshivot, where they're studying Torah. And all the Torah of the children that are studying, they become his legs. I saw this with my own eyes. There was a great rabbi called Rabbi Moshe Pardo, alav shalom. Ora Hayim. Rabbi Moshe Pardo was a living angel in this world. He had an institution, which he still has today, but he passed away. Thousands of boys, thousands of girls, from all walks of life, orphans, unbelievable operation, from when they're babies all the way till they got married, till the end, till the end. Rav Shach, the Gadol Ador, once said about Rabbi Pardo, he said, look at Rabbi Pardo in this world, because you're not going to see him in the next world. He's going to be so far high, you won't get to see him. He was Malach Elohim. I was lucky to be close to Rabbi Pardo. So whenever I would go to Israel, I would visit him. He himself had no children. But everybody in the yeshiva, when they would walk by the rabbi, they would say, good morning, Daddy. He said, this is the barakah that I got from Hazon Ish. He went to Hazon Ish for a blessing. He had no children. Hazon Ish took out a lira. And Hazon Ish was a big rabbi. He told him, take this lira and go build the yeshiva. You're going to be the father of thousands of children. You're going to have thousands of boys and thousands of girls. So you see, he has a lot of legs. And therefore, look what he said, he has a factory of legs, just doing mitzvot all day long to move his soul up. So if a person now donates money to yeshivot, so you're helping the boys and girls study Torah. You're connected through the children, or through the studying, or the zechuyot. Not only you give to the synagogue. How many mitzvot are done in the synagogue? In the synagogue, just look over here, the Devrei Torah in the synagogue. So a person now gave money to sponsor a derash. Look at all the zechuyot, hundreds of ladies sitting studying Torah for an hour. So you paid for the legs. It's synthetic. Instead of having the children, you made your own legs. And therefore all that zechuyot elevates the deceased. So there's never a situation where you say you're stuck. There's no way. There's always a way to become elevated. And this is the musar that we learn from Yitzhak Avinu. That's why Rivka, when she saw Yitzhak upside down, what's this? Oh, this is your husband going to be. Oh, she fell off the camel. She couldn't believe such a concept. This is the people that we come from. That means the Zechut Avot. Ladies, the good news is, Baruch Hashem, you collected a lot of tickets the past hour. Even though when you're going to be 110 years old, you're going to forget. God doesn't forget. God has all your good deeds on account. It's all going to be remembered. And therefore I say to you ladies, stay the course. Keep on collecting more mitzvot and more mitzvot. And Be'ezrat Hashem, you'll have a very good seat. And Be'ezrat Hashem, even after you're finished, you'll have a lot of ripples that will continue to move you, like it says, Yelechu mehayil el hayil, yira'e el Elohim b'Sion. Amen.